Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Korean vlog, Korean experience and talk experience in Korea. This is going to be a look back on my vlogs. The first one is called Dentists and Twitch. I believe this happened in like my second year in Korea, where I had to go to the dentist. A little backstory: the Korean toothpaste. I think I told you about it, but I'm going to tell you again. The Korean toothpaste has brittled my teeth in Korea, some of my teeth, and eventually I found some decent toothpaste and everything. And yeah, that was my. I think it was like an entire, like, for 3 months I had to go to the dentist for a visit so that they can fix my teeth. And it was like once a month. I think I had to go there twice a month. Like the first 2 weeks of every month, I had to go. So that was quite crazy. I actually, no, wait. I believe it was a 2 month thing, but I had to go every week for those 2 months, and it only worked me out. Okay, but it was quite expensive. I literally went and spoke to the dentist and their receptionist and everything, and I had to get my teacher, my co-teacher, to actually explain to them, like, listen, I will pay you at the beginning of every month. I'll pay you. And it ended up being a total of about $1,000, So, but I was only getting 1,005 every month. So I was like, you know what? Let's just give them like something like $200 a month or $250 a month, and that was the thing, And that's how it worked. I love how Korean stuff works. If you don't have the money, you get your employee to tell them, listen, he gets this much a month. He will pay you when he pays you, whereas the rest of the world is like, you better pay us, bitch. But without any further ado, let's get into this vlog thing and look and see what my experience at a dentist was like. Yeah, let's do this. Oh, also, the dogs are barking in the background. I'm going to try and mute my mic so that you don't hear it. But if it does happen, it happens. Let's listen. Fallen ill to such an extent that I've been basically staying in bed for like 3 days, Friday through to Sunday, Thursday through to Sunday, and I finally went to the dentist today. That's kind of freaky, because firstly, I'm in Korea. I'm in a small rural town, and because of that simple fact, finding dentists that's more likely to speak English is very, very difficult. So it's literally a case of, okay, well, I'm gonna go to this dentist and try and talk to him. So I look at him, I get to him, and he's like, oh, 안녕하세요. And I'm like, yeah, 안녕하세요. Just a quick thing. I could have gone to Gwangju to go to a dentist, but that would have worked out a lot more expensive. So I had to stick with my small town, and it was a cool adventure. Let's listen further. And all that, and I'm like, cavity, and he's like, oh, cavity, yes, come sit. And I'm like, okay, cool, I'm going to sit. And man, I have a fear of dentists. Yeah, as do we all. Everybody does, probably. Or more people have a fear of the dentist than would like to admit, or something like that. This dude was so freaking gentle. He's like, lift up your left hand if you feel any pain, and he's busy drilling and scratching, what dentists do, that whole thing. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, I'm trying to breathe, and after a while, I'm like, just breathe normally. And if there's pain, just lift up your hand. I reached like a zen point. Luckily, there was no pain. So they filled up the teeth, they fixed the teeth and everything. I have to be back on Wednesday or something. Yeah, there we go. For a checkup. And it's quite
compared to South Africa, it's not as expensive.
It is. It's not as
I mean,
expensive.
I went in there without any medical aid whatsoever. I just went in there like, hey, I need this done. And they're like, oh, $90. I'm like, oh, $90? Yeah, sure. Take it. $90. I was expecting like $150 for this. I didn't tell them that, but $90 it is. And it was quite amazing. I think he was more gentle on me because I'm a foreigner. Because there were other people screaming. I was walking up to that dentist chair. Now, this is also a funny thing. There's like 5 or 6 dentist chairs, right? He sees 5 or 6 different people at a time. Okay? So it's literally a case of I get down, I walk past people, and while I'm...
Oh, yeah, that was a strange thing for me. Walking into a dentist office, and I don't know if it's like this in America or whatever, but in South Africa what happens is you go to the dentist, and there's like 4 or 5 dentists. No, wait, there's like 3 dentists in one building, or their offices is 3 dentists, something like that, and they all have their own place that they work at, their own dentist office or whatever you call it. And you go in South Africa, you'd go in, sit down, wait for like 10-15 minutes, they see you, and then you go see them, and it's all private and everything, and you just, you go out, and that's it. Here in Korea, I almost said here in Korea, I wish I was still in Korea, damn it. But in Korea, you walk into this particular, I don't know if it's the same everywhere, but this particular dentist, it's literally, I think it's like maybe 2 dentists working, right? 2 dentists working and a bunch of nurses. And what happens is you sit down, they call you in, and you just like walk through a door. And like I said in the video, there's like 4 or 5 dentist chairs, and all the chairs are people are sitting in all the chairs, and the dentist is literally working on someone, and then once they're done, the nurse takes over and they move on to the next person, and they're working on them, and once they've done their work, they move on to the next person, and they move like in between the people, and there's like scanners and everything, for teeth imaging or whatever, and you just literally sit there, and it's like constantly busy. Whereas in South Africa, you sit there and you see like 2 or 3 other people, and you're like, hey, how you doing? And you go into the office, and the door gets closed, and they work on your teeth, and you walk out. Whereas here, it's like, oh no, there's like someone next to me. I'm sitting in between people having their teeth fixed, and I'm sitting there going, ah. So yeah, that was a strange experience. I didn't think that's how they work, but it's very efficient, I guess.
Walking past one of the patients, he was busy working on them, and that was like, ah. I'm like, what the hell have I gotten myself into? What the hell? But it was cool. It was cool. And in other news, I still got a week's holiday left. I'm going to ride out the sickness, maybe hopefully by Wednesday or Thursday. It's cleared up. Then I can go to the small town that I've always wanted to go to. The other small town. I never have some trouble finding it though, but I will figure it out.
Did I go?
What else? Ooh, beard. Let's stroke the beard while I think of something to say. Yes, on Zaffa Geek front, that's left on Minecraft. Such a good game. Like,
that's
you know that when you finish a good game,
Zaffa Geek News.
Let's play something games. I might get my hands onto.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe in the future you can watch. So I've got a week off, then it's back to work, and can't wait to see the kids. Can't wait to see how much they've grown into. Let's play soon. Maybe of your choosing.
All right. So that's just Zaffa Geek News. And the next bit, thanks to the power of editing, we're going to go to the next video. I'm going to try and keep the same posture. Did I succeed?
So where do I begin?
Next video. First day back at work and stuff, yeah.
Firstly, let me just take a sip of my...
Okay, yeah, dude, stop wasting time and just move on.
Since the last time I recorded, I ordered some stuff for the stuff to arrive.
Yeah, whatever you ordered.
Started work today.
Okay, there we go, work.
Yep, I started work today. And it was interesting. My mentor teacher asked me to pitch up earlier,
Oh, this was cool.
just for the inauguration ceremony, the introductory ceremony, because the school has gotten a new vice principal and 3 new teachers.
Just on a side tangent, you remember how I said I got to be a part of the school by participating in their stuff? At this point, they realized that I wanted to be a part of their school. I wanted to be part of the school activities and everything. And there's going to be a few things, if I remember correctly, there's going to be a few things that caught me off guard. You'll probably see most of it, or I'll probably talk about it. But like I said, getting to be a part of the school and getting invited, like your average English teacher would have gone to your average scholar or whatever, not your average, but their previous scholars would not have been invited to the opening ceremony for the year for the school, most likely. Or they would have been invited, but they would have gone begrudgingly, right? And I was like, holy shit, I'm getting invited to this. Let's be professional and shit, you know? And yeah, so that's basically one of the few key things. I wanted to say few and key at the same time, Q. That's one of the few key things that if you ever teach in South Korea, I'm talking about not Hagwons, but I'm talking about public schools, try and be a part of the school if at all possible.
Yeah, vice principal and 3 new teachers. That's how it works. I don't know. And I'm like, okay, cool, get to school today.
Also, the cool thing is the previous vice principal became the principal, and we got a new vice principal. Or was he the principal? I can't remember. But yeah, no, yeah, he was the vice principal. But he was more the principal in this case. Like, while the principal was the vice principal, he was our contact. Like, he was very active and, you know, talking to us. And when he became the principal, it became less so. And the vice principal was basically his voice. I guess that's how it works in Korea. I don't know. Was basically his voice. But he was quite like the previous the current principal at this stage was an awesome guy. The previous principal, not so much. But because, you know, vice principal, it's difficult. So the previous vice principal that became the principal was awesome throughout everything, his transition and everything. The only difference is he was more, I would say more professional, I guess, being a principal. But he was still awesome. Whereas the vice principal had to take over the awesomeness, the new vice principal. But anyway, let's continue on.
They see the new vice principal. I'm walking to school. I'm walking like across the soccer field. They have the soccer field, and I see someone. I'm like, greet him and 안녕하세요 and all that, but he's far away, so I sort of scream like hi in Korean, and he's like, he points at me and he tries to explain something with his hands. I'm like, mulayo, oh. And he pointed to the one spot and he said he'll go there and I have to meet him there. I'm like, okay, cool. And I go. And he starts introducing himself and he's like in English, almost perfect English. And he's like, hi, so you are the new English teacher? I'm like, yeah. And he introduced himself and he's like, I'm the vice principal. I'm like, oh, wow, I can't believe, wow, it's really good to like meet you. You're the first person, the first new guy I meet, the first person I meet, and the new guy. And he looked at me with his blank stare. I'm like, oh wait, okay. I need to slow down my English a bit for him. He can speak it really well, but there's still some trouble understanding most of it. But it's quite cool. So, and we started talking and he asked me where I'm from and I told him every question the Korean asks you when they can speak English. And it was brilliant. And so the introductory inauguration ceremony happened, and all of a sudden my teacher told me, or my mentor teacher told me, oh yeah, no, you're going to be introduced to the rest of the school now. I'm like, oh, okay.
No
yes,
pressure. No pressure.
I'll see what the other Koreans are doing and I'll follow suit. You know, it's just how I roll. I'll be like, okay, they're doing this. Okay, so then I need to fake it now. So they start off luckily at
The amount of times I faked things while being professional in Korea, just amazing. It was just, I can't even begin. This is one of the biggest things that I'm like, monkey see, monkey do. I see what they do and I do the same.
furthest end of the row. So I can see what the other Korean teachers are doing, the new teachers and everything. And they get to me and they say something in Korean, don't really... Basically, this is the English teacher, Sarl is his name.
Oh, that's my real name.
Something
Whoops.
about South Africa, so probably I'm from South Africa. And there's like this keyword they said every time, and on that keyword, all the Koreans, like when they were speaking about the teacher would step forward and bow. And I'm like, oh man, just listen for that teacher. Or for that teacher, for that keyword. I'm like, oh, keyword. And I go forward and I bow. And one of the teachers was so amazed, they walked up to me and started rapid firing me in Korean.
Oh, yeah. When Koreans, this is another thing, and I think I told you about it, is when Koreans realize you can speak a little bit Korean, they start speaking Korean and excited and everything. And I guess it's the same happens when I hear someone speaking Afrikaans and they're clearly American or whatever. I'll be like, fucking rapid fire them in Afrikaans, and then they're like, oh. But in Korea, it's kind of worse because they start going, oh, he can understand Korean. Let's just ask him like 7 questions in one sentence, or 7 sentences because that's a Korean structure. But they'll just ask it, and you're like, eh, mullah? Or ne, be. And it's like, mullah, be. So, yeah, that's Koreans for you.
I'm like, yes, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but yes, yeah, of course, I understand you. And after a while, she realized, oh crap, no, this poor foreigner doesn't understand her. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, it's just, I've been in Korea long enough to be able to try and be as Korean as possible when it comes to important looking official, like official matters. And that was the beginning of my school day today. Had one class where I co-teached with another teacher.
I want to show you
We
guys
spent
something.
time walking around.
Right about there. That's the chain with that's the necklace I wore with my mother and my grandmother's wedding bands in.
Like in the school yard, in the soccer field, but she said it's free time for them, but they should only speak English, and that was amazing. The new grade 5s, the grade 4s of last year, and then I got into teaching. So I decided to make these little 8-page booklets that you can make. It's really quick and easy to make them. And my first class went swimmingly. I explained to them that I wanted to tell them to draw pictures and what they did during their holidays. And my one ear is still blocked, by the way. And that went swimmingly. Then the 3rd and 4th graders came. Now the thing is with the 3rd graders, they were the new kids from last year. I didn't teach them, so they were...
Just a quick thing. What I neglected to mention here, it was my first day at school, and they literally changed things around on me. It was immediately my first day at school. They like, oh, you're gonna teach with that teacher today, English. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I'll just go with the flow, right? And then on the same day, they like, oh yeah, we're gonna combine your classes now. So you're gonna teach 2 classes at once. And I'm like, okay, I'll just go with it. They literally challenged me within the 2nd year. They challenged me so much with regards to schedule changes and stuff. And it's just a normal Korean thing. It happens, you get there, it happens, and you just have to go with it. And that's a lot of things that's one of the few things that a lot of people don't get to grips with, especially within their first 6 or 7 months. The way Koreans work is they literally expect you to do stuff on the fly. And I was like, you know what? I'm winging 90% of my experience here in Korea, my teaching stuff in Korea. This is just an extra winging element.
Like it's their first day in an English environment where they actually get a teacher, and yes, it didn't go as well as the other classes.
Because I didn't know them.
And
Half
I
of the
forgot
class.
that two of the kids that's now in grade 4 have like a feud. There wouldn't be a there wouldn't be a day that would go by where they wouldn't fight. And I sort of forgot that. And it got so bad because I was busy trying to explain to the kids and trying to help them make their books. I was like working through the entire class, started on the one end of the class and just worked my way through it. And I was about halfway done, and all of a sudden something flies past me. I'm like, what the hell? And it's like 3 or 4 pens just going past me. And I look at the direction where it came from, and there's this kid being angry and breathing like this. And I'm like, oh, what the hell? So by that time, it was like the last 10 minutes of class. Obviously, class stopped because I'm trying to sort this out. And I can understand the frustration on the kid's part because he can't speak English really well. And they can't explain to me what's going on. They want to, but they can't. Because I don't understand Korean that well.
Unfortunately,
so
yes.
That's one thing I'm going to work on this year. And eventually that got sorted out, but
I don't understand Korean this well. That's one thing I'm going to work on this year. I think I started using the Memrise app during that year, but I never got into it as much because I was surrounded by Korean the whole time. Now, freaking 5 years later, I know more Korean than I did at this stage.
But I've learned my lesson. Those two kids are going to sit on opposite ends of the classroom for the rest of the year until they make peace, which will probably never happen. So yeah, that was how my day ended. Gotta tell you, I never wanted a beer so badly in my life.
I remember
I'm like,
this.
wait, no, we can't. School can't force us to drink. Can't force me to drink on the first day. So I abstained from that. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll drink over the weekends. I'm gonna stick to a schedule here. I'm not an alcoholic. No, I'm not an alcoholic, but I'll stick to my weekends will be the weekends for drinking.
That didn't really work out. Like, I just have I'd random days I just go to my, to the restaurant below me, and I'll just sit, like, after I got from, like, I'd go to the 7-Eleven and go to the restaurant below me, because the big thing is the restaurant also used me as advertisement. That, Nolbu Bosam, they also used me as an advertisement. As long as I'm in front of that restaurant doing something, people get into the restaurant. So they didn't mind me buying a beer from the 7-Eleven or the CS4U, CSU, or whatever you call it. So they didn't mind me getting from the terminal to the 7-Eleven area, the tiny shop thing, and then going to them and just sitting there, opening a beer and smoking a cigarette. They didn't mind it at all.
Maybe 1 or 2 beers on a Wednesday, because that's halfway through the week. But still, I never wanted a beer so badly in my life as I did today. And that's basically it. On Zaffageek, my Minecraft videos are coming out a little bit later than usual.
Okay, cool. That's it. Let's
Streaming
see.
thing.
Yeah, streaming.
Difficult, right? Especially if they've not been discovered by a famous YouTuber or...
Oh yeah, that's still YouTube and
usually,
Twitch stuff.
About 90% of the time, it's a definite hit when he recommends something and I play it and I'm like, oh crap, yes, it's weird.
Oh, and internet's probably died. But anyway, let's get back.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, that's basically it. Thank you. So that was my videos. Yeah, this was I forgot about these incidents. I love looking back on these videos. I forgot about some of the incidents there. I think in the future I'm just going to tackle one vlog per video because this is quite a long one. But yeah, that was it. This was my first day back in my second year of teaching in Korea. Little did I know that it would be my last year, but that is an episode for later. I'm still not looking forward to it. Like, as I'm going through these videos and I realize I'm reaching the end, I'm like, I'm not looking forward to that, but I have to go through it. And looking back at these vlogs kind of prepare me for that inevitable thing. But yeah, that was freaking it. Thank you, everybody. Oh man, I forgot about these things. You know, I love looking at it because it reminds me of the tinier things that I might have missed. And I'm like, oh, it's almost like there's a Zafir soul in South Korea now going, yes, I'm still here. You know, that part of me that I left in Korea, it's awakened again. So thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And, you know, hug someone. I'm going to, like, I love ending videos like this. Hug someone you love today. Tell someone that you love them today. Be nice in the world. Stay safe. And I'll see you in the next one.